I've noticed that a lot of people are asking questions about roommates on the Facebook page, so I wanted to do a video kind of about roommates. It's more like the do's and the don'ts of being roommates, so it's kind of like the cardinal rules and like unspoken rules of having a roommate. So the first section is going to be do's and then it's going to be don'ts, and these aren't like all of them, but it'll give you a good idea of things that you shouldn't do in order to have like a good living situation for the year. Definitely the most important do talk to your roommate before you move in. You're going to be living with this person for 9 months, more than likely. So you should probably talk to them before you move in, because it's really awkward if you move in and you haven't said a word to this person and now you have to start living together. So my first roommate, my freshman year, we ended up figuring out that we had a lot in common, and so it was really good that we talked. And also it's good to coordinate your stuffs, because there's only one cable hookup in the regular dorms. I don't know about suite style, but in the regular dorms there's only one cable hookup, so if you bring 2 TVs, somebody's not gonna get second, this is just kind of obvious, I think. Do be courteous. Do be a good roommate that asks before they use stuff, and that kind of stuff. And if your roommate is somebody that goes to sleep earlier and you need to stay up late studying, then go somewhere else and study or something like that, because hopefully it'll end up going both ways. That's the next one, is do ask about using your roommate's stuff before you use it. I've always had roommates that are really comfortable with sharing their stuff, but I still always ask every single time, for the most part, before I use their stuff. If you don't and you break it, then that's super awkward. And last, this is really important also. Sorry, I'm looking at my computer screen. That's why I'm looking over to the side. Do figure out the roommate agreement. Do fill that out. You're supposed to, but definitely take it seriously, because it can definitely help solve some problems. If you said don't use my stuff, and then your roommate uses your stuff and it's in the roommate agreement, then obviously they're wrong. These are the don'ts, and for the most part they're actually more important than the do's in some situations. Like this first one, don't be the messier roommate. I hated having messy roommates. It totally sucked. I've never had one that was super messy, but I've definitely had friends that had the nastiest roommates and they were girls. A lot of times people think that guys are the messiest roommates to have. It's girls too, though. So don't be the person that leaves nasty food in the fridge. Don't be the person that lets their stuff move into their roommate's side. Yeah, and don't be smelly. Kind of goes with it. Don't stink. Don't be messy. Unless your roommate really doesn't care. But for the most part, try not to. So a lot of people aren't very good with fights and stuff like that, or uncomfortable situations. I've definitely run into this before, just from other people's stories and in my own situations, and I've definitely done this before. Leaving notes for your roommates is generally a bad idea. I mean, unless it's a nice note, but otherwise, don't leave a note that says, "Hey, Jimmy, turn your music off or I'm gonna smash your laptop," or something like that, because it's not gonna solve anything. I've left a couple notes before, and I don't recommend it. It never goes over well. So try to have those kinds of conversations in person. It's really not that big of a deal. It's not that bad, so definitely have those conversations. And also something that I recommend is, at the very beginning of the year, just remember to tell your roommate, I'm a person and you're a person, and we both have probably annoying things that we do that we don't even realize that we do. So if you can just tell me hey, you always leave your music on before you leave the room. I probably don't even realize that I do it, and then the problem is solved. You try to not leave your music on all the time. So have that kind of conversation at the beginning of the year, and you'll have a whole lot less roommate drama. So this next one, for the most part, probably pertains more to the girls, just because we all want to be best friends with our roommate, and that doesn't always work out. Generally, I'm friends with my roommates, but I like having friends outside of my roommate, so that if I get sick of my roommate, I can go somewhere else, which is really nice. A lot of girls think, oh my gosh, me and my roommate are going to be besties and we're going to do everything together, and that's not necessarily a good thing. My freshman year, my roommate and I were really good friends, and by the end of the year we were kind of tired of each other because we spent all of our time together. So it's good to definitely be courteous roommates and be roommates that get along, but you don't necessarily have to be best friends in order to be good roommates. So I hope this gave you some good ideas about roommate and roommate situations and do's and don'ts for being roommates. And if you have any questions, maybe you want to know more about my experiences with roommates and stuff like that, just let me know. And just as a last disclaimer, if you do have like an uncomfortable roommate situation where you just really don't get along, you can move during the second week of each quarter, and that's really nice. Also, if it is kind of an emergency, like say your roommate threatens to kill you or something like that, which I've never heard of, but it could happen, I guess, then you can be taken out of your room, no questions asked. So, yeah, just if you really hate your roommate, you can get out of it. Don't worry.